In today's video, we'll explore a powerful combination of services that enables you to seamlessly capture and query logs with SQL from your application load balancer using AWS Athena. So let's dive in. If you are watching this video, you know how useful AWS Athena can be to understand the network behavior of your application, providing very helpful log insights to you. So this is going to be our small project. What we have an application running on an EC2 instance inside a target group, and then the target group will be pointed by an application load balancer. The application load balancer will point to the target group, which will redirect the request to the server. And then we're also going to have two EC2 instances simulating some clients making requests to the application directly to the ALB. And at the same time, we're going to send all the logs from the ALB, the application load balancer, to an S3 bucket. And then we're going to use AWS Athena to query the logs from the bucket, directly from the bucket using SQL. Now you know how the project is going to look like, so let's dive in. But before we proceed, if you like this kind of content, just give me a thumbs up, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so we can learn more about advanced AWS.
And don't forget about it. The more you learn, the better you become, and more value you can provide.
So, let's do this.
Okay, great. So according to our previous diagram, this is what we have. We have the test server, which simulates the server that runs behind the target group and the load balancer. And I also created two extra EC2 instances to simulate two clients making requests to the test server. So these are our EC2 instances, and here on the load balancer section, we can see the load balancer that was created for this application. So if I copy the DNS here and paste this on the browser, you should see this message. This is a simple message because I created a basic server using Apache HTTPD. So let's keep going. So now, the first thing that I need to do here is to go to S3 and create the buckets to hold the load balancer logs. So I'm going to the S3 console, and here on my S3 console, I'm gonna create a new bucket. I'm gonna call this npcsj AOB logs. This is up to you. And then I just create the bucket. Perfect. Now I'm gonna open up this bucket. Now we need to do something here. We need to go to permissions and update the bucket policy to allow the load balancer to save logs inside this bucket. So I'm gonna attach some links in the description to you so you can read more the AWS documentation for this. This is going to be the link for the AWS documentation. So what we need to do here, we need to go to step 2. And then according to the region that we're going to save the logs. So since I'm using Oregon region, so I need to follow the process for Oregon. So in this case, it's this one. Regions available before August 2022. And Oregon is here on the list. So we need to copy this policy here and paste it on the bucket policy. First edit. Then I paste it here. Then I need to change a few things here. The first thing that I'm going to change is the ELB account ID. This is not your ID. This is the ELB account ID according to the region. So since I'm using Oregon for my application, I need to find the Oregon ID, which is this one. So I copy this. Then I'm going to paste it here, this section, ELB account ID for the principal. So I replace this part here with the Oregon ID. Now I need to replace the ARN for my bucket, actually just the bucket name here. And then some prefix. I'm gonna say that this is going to be the ALB app logs. This is the prefix I'm gonna pass in the application load balancer section for the logs. And here I put my actual account ID. So I can see this information here. I copy here. And then I paste it on this section. Perfect. This is the bucket policy to allow the application load balancer to save logs inside the bucket. So now I just save this. Great. Now let's try to create the logs and point to this bucket. Okay, great. Let's go back to the EC2 console. Let's find our load balancer, which is this one. So I'm gonna go here into actions, edit, load balancer attributes. Then I scroll here to monitoring and then access logs. And then here I'm gonna browse to find my bucket, which is this one. And then I also need to pass the prefix defined here in the policy. Copy / this. And then we click to save changes. Perfect. You can see that it actually worked. And then if we go back to the bucket, go to objects, and then we refresh the page, we should see this AOB app logs, AWS logs, my account ID, and then you can see a test file created by the load balancer to test whether the logs are actually working. So the ALB logs now are correctly working. And then if we go back here to the ALB, we copy the DNS. So I'm going to do a few things. I'll go back here to the EC2 console, and then I'm going to connect to these two instances and make requests to the DNS for the application load balancer to simulate some connections. So I'll go here into this first application, click to connect, and then I'm going to use this EC2 Instance Connect directly on the browser. Perfect. So here I can do, for example, curl, then I pass the ALB DNS. You can see the same message that we saw on the browser. Hello world from the IP and the region. Perfect. So I'm actually going to do something here. I'm going to create a URL here. URL equals to our DNS. Let me fix this. So I created this URL, and now I'm going to create a small for loop to make 100 requests to our load balancer. And just paste this here. You can see all the requests made to the load balancer. And then I'm going to go back here, and then I'm going to connect to the second instance and do the same. Perfect. So here, the second instance, let me copy the DNS for the load balancer again. Go back here. I'm going to copy this. This is the second instance. So URL equals to this. And then I make a small for loop with 100 requests. So basically we have a for loop 100 times to call the curl, pass to the URL, and then prints done at the end. Perfect. So in a few minutes, we should start seeing a few objects here into this bucket, which are the logs from the load balancer. So let's wait a little bit. Okay, great. After a few minutes, let's refresh the bucket. Now we have this elastic load balancing, US West 2, 2023, the month. And today, now I have some objects here for our requests. Perfect. So the more we use the load balancer, the more files we should see here for the year, month, and day. And these are the requests. Now, what we need to do, we need to go to Athena and create our table to query the logs. So let's go to AWS Athena. Click here. Now, what we need to do here on Athena, if you can see this page, maybe you can see like the Athena page. So then we need to launch the query editor. Then we can see a page like this. The first thing that we need to do is to configure the query result location. So we can go here into settings or here to edit settings. Then we select the bucket to save the query results. So I'm gonna browse S3. I'm gonna use the same bucket that I used before for saving the logs, the ALB logs. So click to choose. And then I'm gonna create a prefix here, /Athena Athena results. So everything that which is created by Athena will be saved inside this bucket with this prefix. Then I click to save. Perfect. Now let's go back to the editor. Now what I need to do, I'm gonna create a table for our logs. I'm gonna attach a link for you in the video description with this information. This is the official AWS documentation for creating the Athena logs. So this is the command. So I'm gonna copy this. And then here, I'm gonna paste it. Then you need to change the location. This is where Athena will read the logs. So just this path here. AWS logs. Let me close this. And this too. So this is the AWS logs, account ID, last load balancing, and the region, which is last load balancing. Then I'm gonna copy the URI here and then replace it here. Perfect. Now let's run this. Then you should see here on the left side that we have this ALB logs with a table created by Athena with our load balancer logs. Now if we create a new section here, we can use SQL to see all the information. Select asterisks from ALB logs, which is the table that contains the logs from the ALB, from the application load balancer. Then we click to run. Perfect. So now you can see all the requests, the client IP, the client port. You can explore this information and extract a lot of relevant information for your use case. Then you can make different requests here if you want to see all the client IP. Let's say, for example, that we want to see all the types into the requests. Let's say, for example, select distinct type from ALB logs. Then I click to run. So in my case, I only have HTTP. But if I try, for example, to see like all the client ports, which are the ephemeral ports used for the application. So here you can see a lot of ports that were used. And now you can use SQL here to query all the information that you need for your use case. And that's it. Now you know how to use Athena to query the application load balancer logs to extract relevant information for your use case. If you like this kind of content, just give me a thumbs up, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. I hope you liked it, and I see you in the next time.